open to doing more reality television. I never say no to anything. I probably won't be very comfortable being a contestant on any of these shows, but if it comes to hosting, now that I have hosted and I have a little bit of confidence, I'll be ready to go. Why not? Bring it on. Let's go.
Yeah, that's interesting you mentioned that you wouldn't feel comfortable necessarily being a contestant, because I spoke with Digvijay Rathe a few months ago about Woodsvilla and, even Brody's and his entire journey.
Sure.
And I always asked, how comfortable are you being, on these shows? Do you ever wonder if the camera's around you? So as an actor who's also done reality television, is it sometimes trippy for you, like when you're filming a reality show, that, there's cameras on you right now, instead of...
Yeah, it's super trippy. It's super trippy. But, at least the one advantage that I have over the contestants is that I know I got to come, I got to host the Dome sessions, I got to host the different challenges, and then I get to go back to my hotel. These poor kids, these boys and girls have a camera on their face from the time they wake up in the morning to the time they go to bed. So it's a lot more challenging for them, So I just feel therein lies the difference. That's probably the reason why I'm not interested in doing reality television as a contestant, because then you just don't know, right? I mean, if you do something like a Big Boss, you're just under the scanner 24/7, and I don't think I could take that.
Yeah, is it different for you as an actor to kind of be on set for something like Murshid or even something like Cartel? Because I'm seeing quite a few questions about that as well.
Yeah.
Versus doing something that's, a reality television show, specifically on MTV, which is a much reputed network, in India, but also around the world. So is it different for you as an actor to have to be in both of those settings?
It's very, very different. To be honest, it's very, very different. As I said earlier, I feel you get a lot of prep time when you're doing fictionalized content. You know your lines, your co-stars' lines, the scenario, your look. You're kind of hiding behind a character. I'm not there playing a version of myself. When I'm on Splitsvilla, I am myself. There's no acting. If I'm pissed off at the boys and girls, I'm very vocal about it.
Okay.
If I'm appreciative of something they've done, I'm vocal about it. So there you're getting to see who Tanuj is for real. Over here, we do, of course, we add our own subtext and our own nuances and whatever our life experiences are. But having said that, we get to hide behind a character. We get to use the dialogue, the words as crutches. You don't have any of that when you're hosting reality television. So it's, you've got to be really tuned in, and the hours are pretty long when you're hosting a show such as Splitsvilla and stuff, so you've got to be tuned in, because you also know that you're not going to get another opportunity, because once the cat's out of the bag, you can't say, oh my god, can I go for another take, because you already delivered that line, you already observed something. So you've got to have a lot of clarity of thought and economy of thought while hosting reality television. Yeah.
And I kind of want to get to the difference between a web series and a film, because you mentioned Yoda, and I did on Amazon Prime, because that's where it's in the US.
Yes.
And one of the things that I'm also seeing quite a few questions about is some of the differences between filming a film versus filming a web series. So what would you say is the largest difference? And are there also any similarities that make it very easy to switch between both sets?
I feel I see little to no difference when I'm on set acting, whether it's for a streaming platform, for a web series, or it could be for a feature film, which is a theatrical release, or a digital film for that matter. The reason for that is simple. If the team you're working with is good, if the script is solid, if the role has what it takes, you're just performing. You're not looking at, okay, is this going to be viewed by people on their tablet, on their iPhones, on their iPads, in a theater. You're not thinking of all that. You just want to be honest to the job at hand and to the character that you need to portray. It's as simple as that. If I start overworking things out in my head about, okay, this is going to cater to a certain audience, so I will deliver my lines in a certain way, then I'm no longer being honest to that character that I'm portraying. Someone spent a lot of days, weeks, months, and years in some cases putting pen to paper and piecing together and creating that character. So it is my duty as the actor, because as an actor, I'm the vessel to communicate the writer, the director's thoughts and their vision to the audience, which is eventually you guys. So I really don't see a difference. Of course, there's an inherent difference in the structure, because you have a different sort of structure. You have a 3-tier structure. You've got a beginning act, middle act, and end act when you're doing a feature film, especially if it's for theatre. Because I believe in the States you all don't have the interval, right? But films in India, most Hindi films, most regional films are all designed keeping in mind the interval block, which is a big thing over here. Okay. So of course, when you're even performing it and you know at the back of your head that, oh man, this is the interval block, you will tweak your performance accordingly because you want the audience to leave the theatre and go and get their popcorn on a high and come back wanting more. When you're doing streaming, that same interval block comes at the end of the episode because that becomes your kind of what do you call it? That mic drop moment, that cliffhanger that you have at the end of the episode. Sometimes all episodes drop together when you're binging on it. Sometimes you drop 1 or 2 a week.
Yeah.
So you want the audience to come and watch the next episode. And the best way to make that happen is that please watch it because, yeah, all this was okay and it's suddenly at the end of the episode that happens. So I think there are a few inherent differences, and also, of course, the way most films are structured here, nowadays it's a little sad to see, but you don't have so many ensemble films. Back in the 70s, 80s, even early 90s, you had a lot of like these multi-star ensemble films. I think that's automatically moved into the OTT space now, wherein you look at some of my shows, you look at a Cartel, you look at an Inside Edge, or you look at other people's shows, you look at a Sacred Games, you look at Patal Lok, you look at Mirzapur. These are all ensemble shows.
Yeah.
Every character is a hero or thinks he's a hero in their own right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it really awesome. So, because you're telling a story over 6, 7, 8 hours of footage as opposed to just 2.5 hours, automatically it gives you that greater chance, a lot more screen time to kind of build your character up, which makes it really awesome. Yeah. And someone's asking for my shades right now. I wish I could send it to you, but I can't virtually. Yeah.
No, it's interesting you mention that because, again, one of the questions I saw before I move on is when Murder May John Season 2 is coming out.
Yeah, the first season.
Yes. So, if you wanted to give viewers a little bit of insight into that as well.
I mean, unfortunately, I don't have any insight on that. I mean, it's a show that I really enjoyed making. They were very, very different times because we were working smack in the middle of lockdown, and I think it was pretty intense, and especially because it's like a light-hearted comedy. I think that's exactly what the world and how we needed at that point in time. But as of now, I haven't heard of any updates regarding potential season 2 from filmmakers. So, sorry.
So what I wanted to ask based off of what you had just said is nowadays they drop everything at once, like C5 has done for Murshid.
Yes.
Do what Netflix is doing right now, which is dropping 4 episodes and then 4 episodes.
Yeah.
As a viewer, do you know this information ahead of time? Is my part 1 of my question. And second, if you don't, does that make your work harder or easier?
No. Oh, it's just equally hard. Yeah. Hi, thank you, Iconic, for the love. Lots of love to you guys in Pakistan as well. Namaste. Okay, this is a very interesting question. I try to keep my process very, very separate from whatever the results are eventually. So I like to work in a bubble. When I'm acting, when I'm on set, when I want to be that character, I want to think like that character. I don't want to think, hey, when's the show going to stream? How many episodes are going to drop at once? Is it going to be built for binge watching? Is it a slow burn? Are we dropping 1 episode a week? I don't want to get into all that. Because then I feel it just takes away from the authenticity of the performance, and it just then it becomes a bit milawti. It's like I'm trying to put too much in, depending on what the streaming platform has decided. And I don't think that's a very healthy way of working. My job, I'm just the actor. I'm an important part of the process, but I'm just one call. There's a lot of other mechanics and machinery working in tandem, and we all have to kind of work seamlessly for us to eventually bring these shows to you. So I don't like to think about that. And I just find that the simpler I keep my process when it comes to acting, the more effective I'm at it. If I'm overthinking, the camera is such that it just catches on to the subtle nuances. And if you're lying and you don't believe in what you're saying and you've got some ulterior motive behind what you're saying, the camera will catch it. So you've got to be very, very careful.
Okay, so that's actually perfect because it leads me into the last fan question that we had gotten.
Sure.
We had done a little bit of a poll, and one of them is, do you have like a certain moment that you felt like, okay, I want to redo that. I need another take. Like I need.
Oh yes. I mean, of course, this happens all the time. So by nature, I'm not someone who usually likes going to the video village and watching playback because I feel it makes me extra conscious. So I like to trust my directors, my ADs, my DOPs, all the people who are behind the camera who have seen what I'm doing on screen.
Okay.
But there are certain times when I feel, hey, if I get one more take, I can add this subtext to it. I can add a certain thing which is only in my head, which they can't possibly know.
Yeah.
So of course, I mean, because we work long hours and we usually shoot quite a bit in like a good 12, 13-hour shift. So sometimes they're like, no, let's move on. But if I really want one, I'll be like, guys, it's going to take me like 5 minutes. Just give me one more take. I promise to make it worth your while. At least you'll have options when you're piecing everything together.
Yeah.
You'll have this, what we already got, and let's just do one for love. So that's how you got to frame it. You know, you got to frame it, and of course, I mean, if you've got really good equations with the people you're working with and all, it becomes a lot easier because even they're like, everyone wants a hungry actor, right? No one wants an actor who just folds it in, who just dials it in, who just comes and says his dialogue and leaves. You know, you want an actor who's truly invested. So I feel like the good makers see that, appreciate that, and they will give you that extra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that leads me perfectly into my last question for you, which is, do you have any like fan favorite moment of yours, but either from the set of Murshid, because I mean you spoke at the beginning about working with KK Menon, or just in general that you would want to share?
Fan favorite moment? I mean, where I was a fan, or like this thing that happened?
Yes, like where you felt like, okay, wow, either, you know, this moment for me is a I made it moment, or I'm able to work with.
I've had a few of these. I mean, I don't know where to start, but I feel the first time I probably felt like this is when I was shooting for the first season, for the opening episode, the opening scene of Inside Edge, and I had to walk out to back, and we were shooting at a real cricket stadium, and we filled it up with about 350 people or so, and of course there's a crowd multiplication, so you would show like the entire stadium's full. But it was a single shot, it was a very long shot, it tracked me all the way from the dressing room till I went to the pitch to take my card and back. And we had a Steadicam operator follow me, and we did a bunch of times. It was a very, very long take and it was highly technical. Every time I did that take and I would come out and I'd have the crowd, all the junior artists screaming my character name, why you, and I'm like, my god, I love cricket in real life. This is the closest I'm ever going to come to experiencing that euphoria firsthand, because I was literally at that same ground 3 weeks before I was shooting, and there was an India-England international match going on over there. So I'm like, oh my god, pinch myself. This is like real, and real life have kind of you know become blurred. So that was definitely one time. Then of course when I got the opportunity to be part of Yoga, which was my first Dharma film, that was a pretty big deal, because like any other up and coming actor, I've been testing for Dharma since the past 10 years since I became an actor, and it was really cool to finally get the chance to work with them and not have to audition. Like, they straight away offered me that role. So I'm like, okay, I guess you're doing something right in your career and your life that these guys think you're worthy of that role. So yeah, I've had a few of these moments, yeah.
That's awesome to hear, and I love that you didn't have to audition for the film. They just gave it to you.
That's awesome.
I feel like I've heard every, actor that I've spoken with, every actor I've interviewed has always said that that's a moment for them that they feel like, okay, I've made it. I'm doing something that I'm passionate about. That's amazing to hear.
So I don't think I've made it, to be honest. I think I have a long way to go, and I feel the day I feel I've made it, that will be the beginning of the end for me, because then I run the risk of getting rather complacent. So I just tell myself that, okay, you're going to live to fight another day, because you're a survivor, and you will keep, like, for me, as long as I'm moving in the right direction, that is what matters. I'm not looking for overnight stardom. I want to have a good, healthy body of work that me, my family, my fans can be proud of and can watch, and it stands the test of time. So for me, that is the most important thing. So I never tell myself that, oh, you arrived and all that, because it's damn easy to get complacent in this line of work, I've seen it happen with so many people, like you get a little bit of fame and success, and money comes in, and all of a sudden you're no longer focusing on the process, you're focusing only on the results. You become result-oriented. You need to be process-oriented in this kind of work. Yeah.
That's very interesting that you mentioned that, because I think even, I on the Urban Nation social media as well, so I'm learning that realm of everything, and you're right. Like, if you kind of think that you know everything or you've made it, then maybe you won't be as open to learning. So that's a very interesting
Precisely.
POV to have, and I really like that as well. So thank you so much for speaking with me. It was
Absolute pleasure.
I'm so sorry.
It's been great talking to you, and this is actually the first live session I've done in, I don't know, many years. So it's great. We've always had a great association with Nature, so I'm really happy to have gotten this chance to reach out to our global audiences and our global fans. And Z5 Global has been absolutely fantastic all the way through. So thank you for this amazing platform and this opportunity.
Thank you. I'm sorry if the conversation went very long, but I wanted to kind of get all.
No. You really asked me some very insightful questions, and you don't need to be apologetic about it. It was a wonderful conversation.
Thank you. So yeah, and hopefully, we can save this interview so we can kind of post it, and everyone else who wasn't at it live.
Yeah.
Want to kind of hear more about Motion, and they can go binge it on Z5 because it is live. So we want to make sure everyone goes and watches it. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Take care. Bye. Bye.